Hey guys! So we are now live in the gym with our board meetup today. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to let the guys from ASN do a little chat about seminars. About supplements. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera around now and head over to them. Do you love my big phone?
Oh, the bod babe. Quick, lock the door. The big rig is getting ready. There he is. We're just going to have a presentation over here.
So thank you to everyone for coming down today. We know that some of you have travelled really far to be here. So what we're going to do first is the guys from ASN, one guy, Tristan, from ASN Ravina is going to do a little bit of a talk about some of the supplements that are best to use. And then what we'll do is we'll hand it over to Nate, who absolutely loves the camera, as most of you guys know.
Big rig.
And then free reign to train whatever you guys want to do. So I'll hand over to Tristan.
First of all, thanks for having me down. It was kind of short notice. So my name is Tristan. I'm from Australian Sports Nutrition. Some of you guys might have heard of ASN. There's 34 stores now. I think another couple opening the next few days, next few weeks. I'm from the Ravina store on the Gold Coast. I've had that for about 5.5 years now. Been in the industry for 10, 12 years, the fitness industry, for personal training. Now I own a few ASN stores, and I've done natural bodybuilding before. I just won the Australian title this year as well. So, yeah, know what we're talking about, I hope. So, I'll give you guys just a little bit of a rundown of some of the supplements with ASN. Who takes any supplements at the moment? Or has taken supplements before? A few of you, yeah? Number one, like I always recommend, is a good protein powder. Who's taken protein powder before? A fair few. The Gentech one's awesome. It's a hydrolyzed WPI, which means it's really fast releasing, low carb, low fat, low sugar. For most of you guys, if your main goal is whether it's fat loss, trying to tone up, increased recovery, protein's great after exercise when you do all that damage to your muscle tissue. I was using that all the way up through my prep. My female clients use it, male clients. It's no real difference. It just depends on the serving size. But if your main goal is trying to tone up, burn fat, increase recovery time, which is the most important, that's what the protein is going to help to do, is repair your muscle tissue. So, like anything, supplements are designed to supplement a good food plan. We never recommend to always just take your protein powder. Get your food right first of all, and the supplements you can incorporate into there. So, Liam, he won teenage Mr. Queensland, and yeah, he took the WFI all the way through his prep as well. Gentech's all Australian made, New Zealand source, so it's really good quality. Virtually no lactose, so the good thing is it doesn't bloat you and it digests really well too. So just make sure with the protein, we don't normally recommend Australian or New Zealand source. It's the best quality. And obviously look for one that's low carbs, low fat, low sugar, and generally a WPI, which is your isolate, because it fast releasing, doesn't bloat you, and awesome from a recovery side of things. So, and you can use that in the morning as a breakfast. Some people use it mid-morning or mid-afternoon if you're time poor. But yeah, primarily make sure you get it after your exercise, or you can have it like on your oats in the morning, or make a smoothie out of it as well. Did anyone have any questions with the protein? Yeah, so there's Gentech. ASN's main brand's Evolve as well, which is our New Zealand source protein as well. If you're unsure, then you can just call my Ravina store or pop online the ASN site as well, and there's heaps of different options there as well. The next one I'm going to talk about is the Thermonuke. Basically, it's a thermogenic fat burner. I'm sure you guys have taken stuff before, like Define 8 or Hydroxyburn Shred. There's heaps of products on the market. it's not the be-all end-all. Mainly if you find if you're lacking energy, you're wanting that bit more of that focus. It's a thermogenic, so it will heat you up so you do burn more calories during your training session as well. This one's got a full serving of DIM too, which is really good to help minimise estrogen fluid retention as well. So the thermogenic's actually targeted towards females with that DIM and calcium deglycerate. They're the two ingredients. It's really good for fat loss. You have some caffeine, anti-berry, which gives you that really good energy. Just mainly if you find you are tired a lot of the times. Don't become reliant on like your thermogenic fat burners, because generally they are high in caffeine, and your body can build a tolerance to it, so a lot of people tend to up the dosage, which can have a reverse side effect as well. So, like anything in moderation, but if you guys are finding you're lacking energy, you're wanting that extra kind of focus and fat stimulation as well, Thermogenic, I said there's Define 8, there's a few other products as well. This is our most popular one because it's awesome energy, good focus, no crash or come down as well, which is a big thing. Some of your fat burners get this big high and this big crash after your training and find you can't sleep in that as well. So yeah, so not a must. It's something you can implement into your training if you find you're hitting a bit of a plateau. You want to kind of take your training to the next level. Jess, so Jess is one of our sponsored athletes and she's one of the main trainers here at Hold Your Own. Yeah, she's used the Thermonuke before and loved it. Jess just won the Australian title as well. Earned her pro card in the sports model division, so she's someone that definitely practices what she preaches, and she's used the Thermonuke before. And
Jess will be here all day while we're here as well to help you with anything that you need. So if you've got any questions, direct them at Jess.
Definitely speak to Jess. She's a little weapon, she knows what she's talking about. So that's a Thermonuke. And
Love her face.
so cute.
Sorry, she stole the show.
Lastly, I'll just touch on the Body Science green tea. Has any of you guys used that before, or you might have used the X50 before? They're pretty popular. Same thing, like it's good because it's really high in green tea extract, which is great for fat oxidation, fluid retention, natural energy as well. So if you guys are following quite a strict training program and food program as well, and finding whether you're getting lacking energy and you're not wanting to rely on caffeine, the green tea is great because it doesn't affect your cortisol production, which is stress. Great for stopping your fluid retention and cravings as well. The Body Science one does some really good flavours as well, like mango, berry, pineapple, coconut. But yeah, the green tea is unreal. So all the research is there to back up green tea for fat burning, for energy, probiotics, so it's good for gut health as well if you guys get any type of like bloating and stuff as well, fluid retention. You can just sip that just during the day with like your water bottle. It's something I rate highly if you find you get sugar cravings, or if you just want something to help with that fat burning process as well. So they're like your three staples. There's other things I could talk about: fish oils, multivitamins, branched chain amino acids, L-glutamine. The list kind of goes on, but I think the key is make sure you get your food right first, then implement the supplements based on your quality food program. So a good whey protein is probably the best to start. If you are lactose or gluten intolerant, you can find like your pea protein, your brown rice protein. The Prana range is fantastic. The raw range as well. The 180 nutrition has heaps of different options as well. So we've got some samples here as well for you guys to try before you do some training as well. Did anyone have any questions? Yeah.
Do you take the green tea while you're breastfeeding, or?
Good question. Always ask, check your doctor.
It's
I'd be
got
careful.
caffeine in it, so it's under 200 milligrams.
Yeah.
So technically you can, but whatever obviously passes through straight out.
Yeah.
So
Because they've obviously got sweeteners in there as well, so you try and reduce like your artificial sweeteners. The Body Science is sweetened with stevia. Anything in moderation, but check with your doctor first. But the Body Science one I'd probably choose over just because the stevia, really high green tea dosage and Australian made as well. Yeah, good question, mate. So I'll be hanging around for a couple hours. If you guys want more kind of one-on-one chat, let me know.
And just doing tastings as well today, so just be careful with pre-workout if you're sensitive to caffeine.
Yeah, I've got some of the Thermonuke mixed up, so if you guys want to try it now before you do your training session, you see if you like it. As I said, I'm at the ASN in Robina. If you guys, see most of you are interstate as well, you can just give our store a buzz. You can find us just online in our Robina store. And if any of you guys want more detail, more information as well, this is really, really basic. More than happy to help you all out. So hope you all enjoyed today. Yeah.
Awesome. So what we'll do is we'll head over to the squat racks now, and Nathan can take over. Yeah.
Big rig.
Any more?
Jess is leader than Con. I reckon she's harder than
Here we go. Big Rig's about to take the stage. Spot it like it's hot.
Alright, so let's get started with this, okay? Many of you probably have or know that watching Sophie Snapchat public speakers, but I'm pretty good at talking about what I like to do, which is lifting. So today what we're going to run through the squat and deadlift. The reason why we're going to run through those two exercises in particular as for females, what do most of you want to try and achieve with a good class? So the two biggest exercises when it comes to that would be squat and deadlift. There are other exercises which you can isolate. Hip thrust is another really good exercise, and if you want to be shown how to do that after this, I'm happy to do that for you. But we'll run through the two biggest players in the game, which is your squat and deadlift. So to start off with your deadlift, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you from pretty much from the start to the finish, which will be from, I'll run through a little bit of warm-up technique because warm-up is very underrated when it comes to lifting, and then all the way through to the actual movement of the squat. So before we get to the bar, I'm just going to talk through the warm-ups. I go through like a 5-step warm-up phase. So the 5-step warm-up phase pretty much starts off with getting body temperature warm-up. That's the first one. So in a place like this, it's kind of pretty easy. You walk into and get warm-up, but usually something like jumping onto like a hitch, the bike, stationary bike. A rower is a really good one because it's full body. We've got a salt bike over there, so it's got the arms that can move as well. So that's full body as well. So something like that that gets general blood flow and body temperature increase. So that's step number one. Step number two is mobility, but you've got to be careful of mobility. You don't want to over-mobile yourself. So especially squat and deadlift. Mobility is important if you have tightnesses. Don't go and jump on a massage ball or on a roll that you're not feeling tight in that area. It's really quite common for people to jump on a mobility ball and throw it into the hips, but then don't have any hip tightness. So all that's going to do is potentially we're going to make that muscle more mobile than what we really need it to be, which will affect our squat strength or deadlift strength. So just be careful with mobility stuff. Yes, you want to try and make sure that you are mobile, but don't overdo it. Okay, so once we go into there, the next little step that I move into is called dynamic stretching. This kind of moves on to the warming up side of things. So dynamic stretching is for squats and deadlifts is as simple as doing something like a leg swing. So what we're trying to do is we're moving a joint through a range of motion, and we're not holding anything. All research is showing that things like static stretching, which is holding a stretch and holding it there, doesn't necessarily reduce the risk of injury. It's more so dynamic stretching, which is starting to get things like, technically speaking, it's synovial fluid. I like to just simplify that and oil around our joints. So getting that sort of thing moving, starting to get more blood flow going through too, which is very important. Also starting to get that little bit of stretch in the muscle, but we're not overstretching the muscle. An overstretched muscle isn't a reactive muscle. So with dynamic stretching, it allows that range of motion, but like I said, not overstretching the muscle. From there, something that's very underrated, starting to come to play a lot more now, is activation work. So activation work is getting the muscles that we're trying to utilize to fire and get going. In today's lifestyle, what you'll find is most people's jobs these days are desk jobs, sitting down. We're not very mobile, as what we used to be hundreds of years ago, even thousands of years ago, what we were built for. So things like our glutes, which is the biggest muscle in our entire body, and that's what we're all trying to work on. Most people have underactive glutes and things like that. Well, they don't fire as well as they were made to be able to do. So things like activation work, what we can do is we can utilise things like bands. Bands are a really good tool to be able to do. And but grab my that's going to provide that's going to provide a little bit of resistance, so you do have to utilise that, but you're not going to fatigue at the same point. What we can find is if we activate a muscle but we fatigue it as well, then potentially we're going to get the reverse effect of it. So it is important, but just make sure that I'm going to stick my butt to it more like that. Missed the little ones. Anyway.
Whilst Nate's doing that, is there anybody here that doesn't have a power rack or squat rack in their gym and they only have a Smith machine? No? So everybody's been squatting with power racks, squat racks? Yeah? Awesome.
If you have the choice, don't jump on a Smith machine.
Nate's pet hate is Smith machines.
They put you in an unnatural position. And they can essentially put force into joints that you don't want force into, things like the knees. I broke my arm years ago, and I had to use a Smith machine, which is fine. The first session I came out from the Smith machine, I injured my knee. So this is just a basic hip thrust. It's actually a really good exercise you want to do in the accessory work as well on top of your squats and stuff. But so all you want to do is you want to try and break the hip. Break the hip, you want to try and force that band into the hip crease there, and then squeeze up. You go for 10 to 20 repetitions. Just get the glute firing. That's what we're trying to achieve. And like I said, don't overdo it at the start. What we're really trying to do is we're trying to activate it, we're not trying to fatigue the muscles. So, so that's step 4. There are other little things, like especially for other body parts that we can do to activate, but for like squatting, that's the main one. Then from there, the next thing is specific warm-up. Specifically warming up to the exercise that we're doing. For squatting, it would be practicing the squat. For deadlifting, we'd be practicing the deadlift. So if you're still finding you're a little bit immobile, just doing things like this and literally just trying to get into the position first, then doing some bodyweight squats, really easy, and then moving into the bar. Okay, so that's my 5-step warm-up, and I run through that every single time with my own and with all my clients. So now we'll move into the squatting. With squatting, there's 2 positions to the bar. Well, there's bar placement first, and what we want to try and do is with the bar height, we want to try and set the bar height up, so when you pop it up off the rack, you've got enough room to be able to clear the rack easily and not have to lift your shoulders up. As soon as you lift your shoulders up, you untighten yourself, and we'll go through that in a little bit. So set the bar up so it's a nice position so you can easily clear the rack, and then easily re-rack the weight without having to put it back on like that. So the old shoulder walk will put it back on. Okay, so squatting, there's two positions. I'm going to go through the low bar position today because it's more of an ideal position, it's a stronger position. Reason for that is the high bar position is positioned on the top of our traps. The low bar position is positioned on the lower part on the shoulders. Yeah, we can do that. So that's a low bar position there, and then a high bar is up there. Okay, so the reason why I'm going to show through the low bar position today is that if you look at it as a mechanical lift, what you want to try and look at is the bar, that's our fulcrum to hit. If the bar is low, it's the fulcrum. Straight away, mechanically, we have a stronger position. Okay, so straight away, we're putting ourselves mechanically into a better position. Also, what it does is it allows us to tighten our back up a lot more. By putting it into a low bar position, apologies, I'll go back to you. By putting it into a low bar position, I have to squeeze my shoulder blades together. Straight away tightening up my rear chain. If I'm tightening up the rear chain, all of a sudden it's more reactive again. Okay, so whereas a high bar position, I'm just not going to get that same tightness as there. Okay, so ideally a low bar position. There are certain people that mechanically have leverage or levers that are not ideal to low bar. It doesn't happen very often. Usually we can work around the position by mobility and things like that. But sometimes certain people have really long femurs and things like that, and it just doesn't work out. So a high bar position would be more ideal in that position. But if you are having real trouble, we'll run through this, and then if you guys want to go off and run through some squats after this, or you want to do your own training, that's fine. But if you are having troubles, feel free to come up and ask me. I can help you out there.
And if you want any help with your squats or deads or anything while you're here, just contact one of us. We're all going to be here to make sure that we help you as much as we possibly can.
So the low bar position. So with the low bar position, what we're trying to do, we're trying to position the bar on our rear delt, on the meaty part of the rear delt. Easiest way to get the meaty part of your rear delt is to squeeze your shoulder blades together. It comes out a lot more. If you don't have your shoulder blades squeezed together as much, it's going to feel like it's sitting on your bone. You've got your scapula. Ideally, it's just below your scapula. Don't want something on your scapula. It will irritate the crap out of the bone's scapula and hurt immensely. I've seen some people that can squat with it on the scapula, and it hurts too much. But they have a better pain threshold than I do. So what we're going to try and do, I'm going to face this way, just so you can see the back positioning, and then I'll turn around.
Oh, big rigs.
Yeah, do that. Hand positioning too. Hand positioning, what you can do just to find out your hand positioning. Start really wide. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Situate the bar on your rear delt there. Then squeeze your hands in as close as you possibly can. That's going to create the most amount of tightness. Come back out. See where your hands come? That's going to be your hand positioning. Over time, the reason why we don't go any closer than that is it will force too much force into your elbows and into your shoulders, and you will get injuries over time. So, over time you might find mobility in shoulders get better, and you can bring it in, or some people find that at the start of their workouts, they're not quite as warmed up, and they don't have the mobility, and then straight away, as they're starting to warm up, they're able to move their hands in. You can, but generally after a long time doing it, you kind of find your spot. Okay? But the closer you can get, the harder you get, which means it's going to be more beneficial. Okay, so that's how we get our bar positioning from there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to run through a routine of what to do. Something that's really again underrated with a squat is the routine of squatting. So squatting and deadlifting is a skill. It's just not an exercise. It's actually a skill. It's why powerlifters just practice squat, bench, and dead. The more you do, it's like writing, I always say. But if you write a lot, you get better at writing, you get faster at writing. Same as squatting. The more you practice it, the better you get at it. It's a skill. So to improve that skill, to make sure that the skill is consistent, we have a routine. You want to have a routine to go into it. That starts from me. I start mine all the way back here. I have a specific routine that I go through to walk up to the bar. I'm very OCD. That's something some mentions that. But yeah, so I'm very OCD. So it's consistent every single time, and that means that I'm not coming in for one session and one session's feeling worse than the other. If I'm feeling worse, it's generally a body thing. It's not a routine thing. I'm not sort of out of whack with that sort of things. So at least I'm limiting the inconsistency that potentially could happen with my squat. I squat at the same time every single day. Every time I train, all that sort of stuff. I really get really specific with certain things. I compete around 10 a.m. I squat around 10 a.m. That sort of thing. So I'm very skill specific when it comes to that sort of things. Just trying to limit inconsistencies. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to try and get your hand positioning. Start with your hand positioning. Like this. If some of these do find you get elbow position, you put your pinky under the bar. Ambitious. Still, and you won't because you've got better mobility, but all it does is shorten your ulnar nerve, and that potentially takes the pain out of the elbow. Hands over timely. You want to come under the bar. Take, get that routine. If you want to step left first and right first, either other. You want to set up so your feet are fairly close together. The reason why this is it allows us to stand as tall as possible once we pop it off the rack, which means we're always going to feel the rack. Alright, so it also allows us to put some nice amount of force into the ground, which means it's going to be easier or feel lighter initially off the rack. Okay, so come under, pop it off the rack. Some people look at a squat straight away. I like to look at the floor to keep me balanced. I have a squat on the floor that I look at every single time. And what we're going to try and do is we're going to do a 3-step walkout. Okay? So a 3-step walkout includes one shuffle back, so left or right foot, either other. One shuffle back. What that allows us to do is clear the rack straight away. If we step outwards and sideways at the same time, what that does is it shifts it sideways. Potentially, we've got a 20 kilo plate on the side. We're going to hit that rack. What's going to happen is we're going to bang, shift us this way, and then we're going to be well balanced, which is annoying. So the back, a shuffle back, then a little shuffle out because we completely cleared the rack now. So with your left foot out, then our right foot. All of a sudden now we have our stance. So it's a 3-step walkout, okay? So that's the little routine you want to do. Just make sure that when you do pick up, you are nice and settled first. Just maybe count to as 2 seconds. Make sure you're nice and stable. Then walk back. You don't want to step up and then shuffle straight away. If you're unbalanced, that's going to carry all the way through the squat. Right? Utilising too much energy just for your setup. We're trying to limit the amount of energy we use to get into the position. So, so that's our little routine that you want to sort of get into. Foot positioning, that is going to depend on the person. Some people are going to have a wide stance, and that's going to depend on hip mobility. Some people are going to have a narrow stance. Also going to depend on leverages, where your strength lies as well. If you have you're quad dominant, potentially you're going to have your feet a lot closer, whereas you're a lot more hip dominant, you're going to have your feet a little bit wider as well. Just quickly first as well, footwear will play a big part in this. Do not squat in runners. Anything like that is a no. Horrible shoes. They have no stability. Like, they look good. Yeah. They look good to certain people. But they have no practical sense whatsoever. Ideally with a squat, what you want to try and do is you want to try and get a flat sole shoe that's a hard surface.
If you don't have them, just wear bare feet.
Barefoot is your last option, but it's not your last option, but you don't have a really good quality shoe, then barefoot is the best option there.
Just to roll in, you can see it when I even just stand there.
The reason being is they're made out of foam.
Yeah.
And foam isn't stable. You put your foot in and you're going to roll out. If you have too much torque on the outside of your foot, your ankle's going to roll outwards, all that sort of things. Your footwear is quite important, and that's going to play a role in how you squat as well. That's why I've gone back to your shoe, because if you wear something like an Olympic lifter, Olympic lifting shoe, that's a flat sole shoe. These are pretty decent. They're flat sole, they don't have much of an archer. They're quite stable, they're quite a flat sole on the bottom of them as well. Not too bad. Basic running shoes, I don't know. These are made kind of to lift in, so not the best shoe, but they're not too bad as well. Generally, something that's just a flat sole, like wrestling shoe, really good. Wrestling shoe right there. Those shoes right there, really good. So something like that. Dunlop volley, something like that. Anything that's flat sole is going to give you a little bit of stability. That or Olympic lifting shoe. Can't really beat an Olympic lifting shoe because they create so much stability. They're so rigid and they don't have any give. They're really good. The only problem is some people, a lot of people actually, don't really need a heel because flexibility is an issue. Olympic lifting shoes are really good if you have problems with ankle flexibility, which is a big hindrance when it comes to squatting. And most people think, oh, their hips are really tight and anything like that. It actually comes down to ankle flexibility. So Olympic lifting shoes will help with that. Ideally, flat sole shoes. If you have ankle issues, Olympic lifting shoes. If you don't have anything, I suggest you buy some or squat in barefoot. Okay, so babies are the best at squatting. They have no mobility issues and they're just built to it. And then we get older and less mobile and we grow out of proportion through genetics. But, so squatting. Has anyone got any questions so far? Just because we haven't got to the part of squatting yet? Okay, cool. So squatting, put out a little walk out, take a little step. From this position here, so we're assuming that we've got our foot position here. What we want to try and do from this top position is we want to stand nice and stable. You want to squeeze your bum. So that's going to activate your glutes straight away. So squeeze your bum as tight as you possibly can. You're squeezing your shoulder blades, everything's nice and tight. From here, we don't just squat straight down by breaking the knees. What we want to try and do is we want to try and break at the hip. Breaking at the hip allows us to put the weight straight into our hips, which is ideally where we want to put the weight. If we break at the knees first, think of it this way, 100 kilos of weight on the bar, but break at the knee joint's the first weight to take all the way. All of a sudden, that's a lot of force for the knees to be able to take straight away. The joint that moves first, the joint that generally takes the load. Okay, so the majority of the load comes the primary mover. So break at the hip first. So break back at the hip, then we want to try and break at the knee to come straight down. Alright, so big. I'll do that when I'm going to bar my back. So I'm going to try and break at the hip, then come down. As we're coming down, what we want to try and do is we want to try and keep our knees outwards, out over our toes. We don't want to allow our knees to collapse. That is a bad position for our knees. Let's talk for the knees. So break the hip, knees come out, and then we come back up again. So if we allow our knees to travel inwards, what that's doing is cramping our hips, not allowing any room in our hips to be able to get any further down. Okay, so we get there, and get stuck here. I'm going to try and fold it out of the backs. I'm going to put us in a really bad position. If we allow our knees to come outwards, it naturally allows us to sit down, and this is what babies do really well, and then they come straight back up. Okay, so I'll show you from the side view.
So Nathan, is that as low as you go? Like you do actually go past, because I've always heard like you don't go past your knees. Is that a fallacy?
No, that's that rumour came about 30 years ago, I believe.
Yeah, that'd be my
and it's just kind of carried on.
Okay.
They've shown through numerous studies now that if you set it up right, the knees aren't going to take any more effect. I can't remember the studies. It was done on basketballs apparently.
Okay.
And it was something to do with angle of the knee. It was something that they were doing and that was causing issues with knees.
Okay.
There was nothing ever to do with weight training. It just kind of somehow filtered through.
Okay.
I could find the studies for you and go
That's
through
all right.
it.
I'll trust you.
I put a thing up. Sophie got obliterated about a year or so ago about squatting. I found the article and I posted it straight on there. And it was,
Okay. Good.
So,
Everyone always obliterates me about my squat.
Oh.
Every single
she's
time.
hypermobile, by the way, so
Oh.
she gets down there very easily, but she can, that's why she gets extra low, but for her, it's not,
Okay.
more than anything, it just reduces her ability to squat. So from this position here, I'm nice and stable. What I do is I break at the hip there, allowing force to go through the hips. then I squat the knees coming out, and then come back in. If you have knee shift inwards, that's not too bad, that is known. That means there's weaknesses, adductor and glute weaknesses, and that's something we need to work on. And you literally need to go right back to step one, or square one. Squatting, if you can't even do it without the bar, squatting body weight, then with the bar, and working your way up. You just want to try and make sure the perfect position for knees is, like I said, out over the toes and no knee instability. That's okay, but not ideal. That is not okay. If that's happening, go back with one. Okay, so that's fine with that. Yeah, just one more thing I'm going to talk about. So that's how we squat. One really important little step is oxygen, air. Before we squat and go on the down portion of the squat, take a big breath of air, as much as you possibly can fit inside you, then squat and hold the entire lift. Don't squat on the way, don't breathe on the way down, don't breathe out on the way up, hold your breath. Oxygen is like our pressure canisters. If we release pressure halfway through the movement, we drop through our torso, and you either lose the lift halfway through, or you just won't be able to lift as much.
I'm not sure if many of you have seen Nathan's lifting videos where he squats, but when he does, you notice he's breathing pretty intently. So he literally goes red in the face and he takes the biggest breath and he literally keeps going until he cannot take any more. Do you want to demonstrate that?
So it's not ideal. I don't really want to demonstrate as much as I usually do, but you've got to remember you can breathe into your stomach as well. Breathing in your stomach is an art form that powerlifters utilise a lot. You don't just have your lungs, you can fill up your lungs and then fill up your stomach. And by doing that, it creates so much more. Think of it this way, we have an abdominal wall that's built around us, and then it extends through to our back and everything. The more breath and oxygen we can push in, the more pressure we can push out against everything and all the organs and everything all of a sudden is nice and tight. So that creates, it's not going to help, it's not going to extend your stomach or anything like that. All it's going to do is help create enough pressure so you've got a nice amount of pressure inside you to be able to hold you in a nice stable position. It's helping our core out really in anything. So it's not just all reliant on muscles holding our spine, all of a sudden we've got some air inside us as well to help us out there. So very important. Another equipment thing that you could use, which comes into play with the breathing side of things, is a belt. Belts are okay to use, particularly if you're having slight back issues at all. But all a belt allows us to do is it allows our stomach an area of space to be able to press out against, creating tightness and proprioception. So proprioception around our abdominal wall, which is very beneficial. It's why people use knee sleeves. Not just helps your knees keep warm, proprioception around the knee. Okay. Any questions with the squat? Otherwise, I'll keep going for hours.
You might feel a bit self-conscious when you do learn to breathe like this, because you are a lot louder than what you normally are. I find that when I've got headphones and I take them off, they're all laughing at me because I'm so loud gasping for air. So you may feel a little bit uncomfortable and awkward to begin with, but honestly it changes your squat completely. So I really do suggest that you do give it a try.
You would notice about a 10 to 15%
increase in your squat just from learning to breathe properly, and it really makes the biggest difference. But if there's no more questions on squats, remember that we're going to be here the whole time, so if you've got any questions, come up and ask us. We'll move straight on to Des because they literally talk for hours. On Snapchat, he refuses to even go on my Snapchat. You talk about squats and you can't shut him up.
That just won't be as long as it always will.
Alright.
You can kind of move forward a little bit. We'll hang around that.
Yeah. Yeah, if whoever wants to pre-work out, feel free to go and try that now.
Pre-workout?
the squat. Yeah, no questions? What's the bar positioning? Front squat is almost I'm not very good at it because mobility in my shoulders and wrists and stuff is not very good for me. And another issue is that it is a different positioning. Like you're upright as compared to over. Like with the back squat, you don't be scared of getting over into this position. Front squat into this position. A lot more quad dominance compared to the squat, which is a lot more hip, glute. You will find, because there is a lot more quad, it's a lot more quad dominant, there is a lot more force through the knee as well. The knee has to track forward further, so it has to go that way a lot further. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like I said, there's been studies showing now that force through the knee isn't necessarily. I wish I could remember the study.
We'll find it, we'll post it for you.
The knee joint was built to go 130 to 140 degrees. That's what it was built to be able to do. So, and we were built to be able to sit
And
like this.
because my squat is so incredibly low, as soon as I squat, everyone sneezes.
So there shouldn't be too much issues. It's more the overuse issue. That's when people get bad knees, or even with the front squat, there is, even though you do stay upright, there is that slight break of the hip as compared to the squat where you get right over. You still always want to break the hip, putting a little bit of force through the hips.
Everyone's back now for deads.
Okay, so deadlift, also known as the king of the gym.
And like squats, there's so many variations of deadlifts as well. So if there's a particular variation that you do want help with, come and ask us.
There's two different variations of this, or like two particular variations of the deadlift. There's conventional and sumo, so I'm going to run through the conventional. And then if any of you guys do want to do sumo, and the only reason you do sumo is most people can do conventional. Very few people just can't do it. I'll run through that later. So conventional deadlifts, warm-up wise, I won't need to go through that because it's very, very similar to the squat. The only thing that really changes is the specificity when it comes to warming up, which is with deadlift. So with the deadlift, I'm going to simplify as much as possible because it's the most overcomplicated exercise ever taught. It just gets overcomplicated. Squat has to be, because there's a lot of steps to run through. Deadlift, you can really cut it back, and there's a lot. People put too much stuff into it. Because it allows you to sit at the bottom and think about it too long. You will sit at the bottom and think about it too long because it's sitting on the floor. With squatting, the bar's sitting on top of you. It's trying to crush you. You want to get it on and off you, onto you, and then back off you as quick as possible. Deadlift, you don't have that option. You can put it back on the floor, think about it all day long, and then try and lift it again. So we're going to try and simplify it. Okay, starting off with foot positioning. The easiest way to get the foot positioning when it comes to deadlifting is think about a vertical leap. Where will you put your feet? Whenever you do a vertical leap, just close your eyes, put your feet, think about jumping as high as you possibly can. Look where your feet are. That's your foot positioning. What we're trying to do is trying to create as much force going into the floor so we can get standing up. Okay, so feet are roughly around that hip width apart. Okay, so that's our positioning. Now, foot positioning as compared to the bar. What we're trying to do is quickly first, feet or equipment, shoes, flat sole shoes. Again, a wrestling shoe, very flat sole shoe, or barefoot or socks. So most people, a lot of gyms won't allow you to do barefoot, so get yourself some flat sole shoes. Anything that's completely flat and has no, well, really it's limited sole as possible, so as close to the floor as possible. Okay? The higher the heel or the higher the shoe, the more longer you've got to pull. Okay, so what you want to try and do is, foot positioning compared to the bar, is you want to try and put the bar directly over the midline part of your foot. It's a misconception putting your shin directly up to the bar. What that's doing is they're actually putting the bar behind your centre of gravity. Your centre of gravity is the midline part of your foot. If you have a really short foot, it might be up against your shin, which is fine, but if you have a really long foot, it might be like this. So it's your centre line of gravity, which is pretty much there. Okay, so for me, it's your midline part of your foot. What's also going to allow us to do is going to be able to create a little bit of leg drive as well. I'll show you in a second. So from this position here, the bar is the midline part of our foot. Easiest way to set it up is we want to try and stand up nice and tall. We don't want to retract our scapulars back. We don't want to let them roll over. We want to try and keep them nice and neutral. So we're trying to keep our spine neutral and our shoulder blades in neutral position. Okay, so easiest way to do it is put your hands by your sides and try and touch the outside of your knees. So try and switch, push your hands down as much and try and reach down to the outside of your knees. From here, keep trying to do that. Break your hips. Then reach down to the bar without allowing your shins to move forward to the bar yet. I'm going to do that later. So reach down to the bar, keep bending at your hips, keeping your back nice and flat. So down, 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 down. Then do a under-over grip. That's going to allow the bar to stop rolling out of the hands like this. All of a sudden, straight away locks it in. So under-over grip, just on the outside of your shins there. As soon as you grab the bar, take a big breath in. Shins to the bar, stand up. Easy as that. Okay, so just put the bar back down, break the hips, go down, slide the bar down your legs, back into the same position. Always keeping the bar against our legs. As soon as you bring the shins to the bar, it doesn't come away from our legs. As soon as the bar travels forward, swings forward, straight away it's going to put torque into our spine, potentially giving some more chance of injury. So the only risk with the deadlift is if the bar swings away from us. Get yourself into a really good position. First of all, the bar won't swing away from us. Okay, so you could actually have your back rounded like this and the bar still be against you, and still the chance of injury is less than if the bar is out here. Okay, that's why they always say if you're picking something up, keep it close to you. And it's really just good, keeping it close to your center line of gravity, creating less torque through your spine. So that literally, that is a deadlift. When you go into more technical terms, the bar really doesn't want to go forward of our scapula. So here, you want to put the underarm, the back of the underarm there. The bar doesn't want to travel forward of that or back of that. If it stays in line with that, I mean, it's going to have direct path straight up. Means less distance the bar to travel, it's going straight up. Again, being able to create more weight for us to be able to lift. More weight means more muscle on our bum.
Could you just demonstrate again?
Yep.
Maybe three?
So again, let's big positioning. We're going to try and reach down to the sides of our legs, break at our hips, kicking our shins away from the bar, come down. Big breath in, shins to the bar, and then straight. As soon as the bar gets to our knees, what we're trying to do here is now just think about bringing our hips to the bar. Okay? Don't overthink it. Don't think about you having to pull the bar back. Deadlift isn't. I try and steer away from the deadlift being a back exercise. If you think of it like that, straight away mentally you're thinking about pulling the bar. Think about it as a kick exercise. Okay, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to drive a little bit from the legs. So you're tightening the bar, so you want to try and tighten your scapulars this way. So tighten your scapulars that way. So all of a sudden now we've tightened our whole back. We're not pulling our shoulder blades back. Tightening, and that should happen, like I said, from the moment that you push your arms down. And keeping them like that, that usually keeps them in that positioning. But if you do find you lose that positioning, all you need to think about is pulling your shoulder blades back towards your hips. Okay, so shortening that distance, that's going to tighten our backs. So straight from here, and then we want to try and lift up there, and then it's a hips through to the bar. Straight away to the side, okay?
Would you say that deadlift's the best exercise for your body?
Yes and no. Squatting is on par with it, purely because you get more range of motion through the glute with the squat, the very bottom part of the squat where you don't quite get that. Probably get a better contraction at the top with the deadlift, whereas the squat you get a better range of motion and more stretch on the actual muscle of the glute. So they both play a really good role. That's why hip thrusts, even though very good for the glute, don't really get the same stretch as you would with the squat. So I still think squat, when it comes to booty growth, is the best. Deadlift is a very, very close second, followed by hip thrusts. Because hip thrust is so isolated. It's really the only play you have that helps it out is a little bit of hamstring, maybe a bit of quad. It's very minimal those two exercises, and then you've got your core just holding nice and tight, which happens with every exercise. Any questions with the deadlift?
Do you lock your knees out?
Yes. Yeah. Any misconception about locking elbows, locking knees? Don't worry about it. The joints were made to be able to be closed shut. So really the only thing you wouldn't ever do is I might say something like a leg press. If you're squatting and you have your knees locked, you're not going to switch your quads off. You're usually squeezing your legs, so all of a sudden your quads are holding stable the knee joint. Leg press is a really well-known one where people will get to the top and completely relax their quad. Then all the weight is pressing in on the joint, the knees are pressing together. That's really the only exercise where I'd go, or you can lock your knees out. If you do, you've got to keep squeezing in your quads, which means you're not actually resting. So some people get to the top and completely relax. That's when they're resting. If you do get to the top, keep it really tight on the legs, like a leg press. And with the squat or with the deadlift, you won't be able to unlock. You won't be able to not squeeze your quads, keeping your knees nice and tight. So, and same with the like triceps. If you're doing a strict press, mainly for females, the bench press. Getting to the top, no issues with locking your elbows out. If you are hypermobile through your elbow joints or your knee joints, then potentially, because it is going to go back past 90 degrees and then we haven't got much strength going the other way. So some people have another elbow and come out that way. That is a little bit of an issue. Same with knees. Some people with knees just lock it back a little bit too far. Then you look at it being an issue and don't go to that extent. But 90% of people won't have that issue, so it's not an issue at all. Yeah. Even with like any tricep exercise and doing tricep exercises, feel free to lock the elbow. That's what the joint was meant to do. That's what the triceps was meant to do, to lock the elbow out. Yeah.
Is there any other questions on deadlift?
Respectfully, why is it controversial with the grip? So some people are really adamant that it's going to be this way.
It does prevent a slight risk of injury to the bicep. Yeah, you see the underarm. It just puts that bicep in a slightly stretched position. The reason why it will potentially injure the bicep, and you have to be quite strong to do it, is if you try and pull on the bar, mainly. So people that have a bad habit of trying to pull the bar with their arm generally have issues with biceps. I've seen it happen to someone in a gym, it wasn't pretty. But it was someone squatting. I've never actually seen it happen deadlifting, besides like videos and YouTube and whatnot. I try not to watch those. But I have seen someone do it. It was someone trying to squat someone and they grabbed the bar to help someone to re-rack it. And as they did that, their bicep went.
But your grip is so much better.
It was actually my boss.
Some PTs are really adamant that should be safe, but I prefer like things in control.
I go over that for me personally allows to lock one side, and if you lock one side better, because you actually get a better scapular retraction that way. If you lock one side, you get a slight crossover to the other side. It's just natural. So all of a sudden the other side tightens up a lot more, even though it is over. So I like it personally. You see a lot of people completely, and I understand it because it can be scary for guys lifting hundreds of kilos, think that your bicep could go on you any minute. So you do see a lot of people do a hook grip, which is something you could try and do. Hook grip is what it started in Olympic lifting. It's where you wrap your thumb under the bar and you wrap your index fingers or your middle finger over the thumb. It's very painful on your thumb, especially to start out with. However, it allows you to lock the bar and go double overhand. So it does reduce the risk of injury. I can't deal with the pain. Again, I don't have the pain threshold of those guys. And like I said, I get the benefit of, if I undo an undergrip with one side, I feel like I get tighter on the other side, putting me into a better position too, because it allows me to get my chest up. As soon as I do like this, I roll forward. And that's for me, I'm already a slightly round back deadlifter technically. I have a slight round back in the start of my deadlift. Again, that's just a technical thing. It's not a bad thing, a slight round back deadlift. But if I was to go double overhand, it would probably put me into a position being over the top, and I would struggle to lock the bar out because I'd be stuck here. Whereas that just allows me to stand up a little bit easier.
Alright. Are there any other questions? No? Alright, so what we're going to do is just a free session so you guys can do whatever you want to do today. I'll pump the music up and we'll be here to help you. So I think I introduced Jess before. Little shredder. Jess, Liam, Tristan's here, Nate's here, I'm here. So if you need anything at all, we're here and we're happy to help you guys. So enjoy your session. If you need anything, let us know.
Thank you.
I hope you guys enjoyed Nate's training session and his techniques today. So if you do want any more information, please leave questions below and I'll make sure that I get back to you guys as soon as possible. And I'll try and post more information where I possibly can. We did do a squat tutorial a couple of weeks ago, so I'll make sure that I do post that for you all as well. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave a comment below.